and after a brief hiatus, I'm excited to officially welcome you to Season 2 of the Hearts Afire Podcast. This week marks the beginning of the school year for many students, parents, teachers, administrators, and their loved ones. And for today's episode, we're taking a deep dive into the importance of education and keeping kids in school with our guest, Sister Maggie McDermott. Before we get to our discussion, I'd like to remind you that whether you're watching this episode live or listening to it on a podcast, make sure to never miss an episode by clicking the subscribe button now. We appreciate your support of the Hearts Afire Podcast. Now on to today's discussion with Sister Maggie. For those of you who don't know her, Sister Maggie is the Executive Director of Talentine Zizer Community Life Center. Welcome, Sister Maggie, and thank you for joining us today on the Hearts Afire Podcast.
Oh, thank you, Katie. It's my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here to share with you.
Yes. So, Sister Maggie, this week has been quite busy for you. So how are you doing? How's your staff? And how are you feeling generally as you kick off the school year?
Well, I'm feeling great. And I know the staff here are all feeling great too. They're very upbeat and very optimistic about the year ahead, and hoping that COVID will go away during this year and we won't have to be wearing masks every day.
Very nice. I can only imagine what this summer has been like for you preparing for the school year and coming off a hectic school year last year. Take us through what this summer has been like for you preparing for the school year.
Well, last year was really relatively calm in that we only had about 35 children who came in here every day. We had a number of teachers who came to do their remote and to work in their classrooms. But on the whole, last year was quiet. This summer was hectic because we had very few children, but all the we went under the Board of Education starting July 1st. So the time of July and August had to be spent getting places painted, classrooms fixed, cleaning, deep cleaning, exterminators, you name it, and we had them in here. Air conditioning in every classroom working. So it was very busy this summer. And then what happened was a week before Labor Day, 3 teachers left for the Board of Education.
Wow.
So it's been very busy.
So you've had to wear many hats this summer. If you could just tell our listeners a little bit about, your role as executive director at Talentine Zizer, what goes into that, and, how has COVID kind of, expanded your role to wear different hats?
Well, my responsibility is to get it all up and running and get it done and try to use Elmer's glue to keep it all together. That's really my responsibility. Make sure that every single day, everything is in order here, that on payday, everybody gets paid. That's a big part of my responsibility. And with COVID, it wasn't as bad because we didn't have as many children. We did deal with some parents, have little parent groups who came in and things like that, but it wasn't as stressful as it is at this point in time when we're trying to open up for the year ahead. But everybody, it's all hands on deck. That's what I said at the meeting yesterday. We all have to work together to make this work until we can get all the right people we need to join us.
Okay. And how does this school year at Talentine look different from last year?
Well, this year looks better because right now we had 71 children yesterday for lunch. Last year, we only had about 35 in the whole program. We're supposed to have 150 children because, as I said earlier, we always had an online budget where all the staff were on a line and they were paid by that, according to that line. This year, we're getting paid for how many children we have in the program. Well, if we don't have enough children, then we won't get the money to pay the staff we have.
Wow.
So it's a whole different situation this year.
Wow.
And I think that in the end, we're going to get the children because we have parents coming in here every day. So we just have to keep at it.
I imagine, Sister Maggie, that parents and kids are both eager to get back to a sense of normal, and especially that means having their kids in school. And can you talk about, from your point of view, what's the importance of having kids back in the schoolroom for both the child as well as their loved ones?
Well, I think the most important thing in our community here is that the parents know the staff here have been here for many years, and God knows I've been here for 100 years. I lived up the block. I went to the grammar school. I went to the high school, and now I'm back here in the neighborhood for a long time.
You are a Talentine.
I am a real Talentine. And the parents in this community know me, and they know the staff, because most of the staff have been here 25 or more years. I will say that I'm trying to encourage them to go back to work. That's a very important thing in this community, and that we are here to help them. Or during this summer and up to tomorrow, we've been open from 8 to 3:30. But starting Monday, we're going to be open from 8 to 6. So that's
great.
Yes, so that's because we want to service the people in this community and try to encourage them to go back to work. Because our center is clean, it's safe, and it's a happy place to be, and the children are learning. That's the most important thing. And a lot of our children, they're like maybe an only child, they have nobody to play with. When they come here, they're so happy. They play, they have friends and everything. The first day, you might have a few 3-year-olds crying, but after that, no.
Well, that's a typical first day of school. There's always tears from both the student and more times their parents, telling them to stay home forever.
Yeah. So we're really trying to encourage our parents to bring the children to school. And then we try to talk to them if they're not working, to try to find a job and bring their children back. Our family workers work really more closely with the families to try to help them to what they have to do to get extended day. They have to bring in a lot of paperwork, and some of them don't like to do that, but eventually the family workers get them to do it and join our parade. So
you definitely wear many hats here, and I bet no 2 days are ever the same for you at Talentine. And I know everybody at Talentine absolutely loves you, and you are Talentine essentially. You make the center run, and everybody here in Blauvelt appreciates all the work you do at your ministry. And Sister Maggie, if you could just kind of go into what is your hope for this upcoming school year for you personally, your students, your staff, and their loved ones. If you could, if you have a message for them, and what is your hope for them?
My hope for the center here is that we have more children and that we can service more families in the coming year. My hope for the staff is that they have a peaceful, joy-filled, happy, healthy year ahead in which they're able to serve the children that we service, and that they may get involved with their families. That's a very important thing to me, especially those who are on the edge of society. Those are the ones that I try to help, because that's our main belief. And for the children, that they may grow and have knowledge, and when they finish in the 4-year-old class, they have their little graduation and they go around the corner to the charter school. There's a big charter school that opened where St. Valentine High School used to be.
That's great.
And it's great. This year they have a kindergarten and a first grade. So, and one of our teachers went over there to teach. So that's good too.
That's great.
I would say that to be upbeat and try to spread the gospel best way we can. That's what we all try to do.
And you do a wonderful job of doing that. And again, I think that just speaks why everybody just has, the best opinion of you and speaks so highly of you. And Sister Maggie, final question for you today. If you were talking to any parents who were kind of on the fence of, sending their kid back to school, and what would be, your sales pitch for Tallentine? Why should they send their kid back to school at Tallentine with you?
Because we're the best. We're the best place on University Avenue. And believe me, there's one down there. There's 3 up that way by Kingsbridge. But I really believe that we care about the whole child. We care about their families. For holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we always involve the families. We used to do it for Halloween, but we stopped because it was too dangerous. So we keep a party here in the center, and that suffices. But that's really why we're the best in town.
And I'm certainly agree with that. You are the best, Sister Maggie. Tallentine is the best. And I thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that you join us for future discussions.
No, thank you. Thank you for helping me and make me feel at peace. I appreciate it.
And, thank you for, taking a deep dive into your ministry with our listeners, and we certainly appreciate it. And
that's why I have my mask on. New governor, you probably heard it on the television last night. The new governor said that all daycares, all staff have to have their mask on at all times. But we've been doing that. We've been very faithful to the mask.
Well, I think that's a great thing. And especially since, we're streaming this podcast episode live on YouTube, that people can see you have your mask.
Yeah, that's
So there's the proof there, and we hope you have a great day, Sister Maggie, and please join us for future discussions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Katie. Thank you.
Bye, Sister Maggie.
Bye.
And before we go, I'd like to remind you that if you enjoyed today's discussion, please let us know by giving the Hearts Afire podcast a 5-star rating on wherever you're listening to your podcast, or liking this video on YouTube. And we hope that you also turn into our next discussion, where we will be sitting down with Sister Victoria Sloan to reflect on her 75 years of religious life and upcoming Jubilee milestone. Also next week, Karen Cassell, our Director of Development, will be joining us for a special Facebook Live and YouTube Live video, where we will be announcing the winner of our Autumn Festival raffle. Even though we are not having our Autumn Festival this year, we are still doing our Grand Prize raffle, and the winner of that will be announced next week during a Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Thank you again for tuning into the Hearts Afire podcast today, and please know that you are in the daily prayers of our sisters and associates.